Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. Be sure to check me out over on Rumble. There you'll find all of my stuff from YouTube, plus my political and social commentary and weekly current events, which YouTube frowns on. Links to my Rumble channel as well as my other YouTube channels and links to let you order my books are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I welcome your comments even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons & Dragons monster video on the Osquip. O-S-Q-U-I-P, the Osquip. One of the favorite activities of most player character groups usually involves spelunking. For various reasons, many player character groups tend to find themselves underground. If that particular underground area happens to be under a town or in a sparsely inhabited area, one of the more dangerous monsters to run into would be the Osquip. The Osquip can be found on page 70 of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Fiend Folio. Be sure to read up on those monsters before you use them in your game. There's an aspect to these guys, these critters, that I add when I play this. And I think that it makes the monsters a bit more challenging, a little more realistic. Let me just finish what I got here, and then I'll continue on. I'll get to it. The Osquip can be found on page 70 of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Fiend Folio. Be sure to read up on these monsters before you use them in your game. Read up on them very, very thoroughly. The Osquip, on first glance, doesn't appear to be exceptionally dangerous. The first time you look at it, it looks just like a big rat, basically. It only has 3+1 hit dice and an armor class of 7. And most players would look at that and go, I can take that. That's no problem. The danger of these particular creatures comes when you look at the damage per attack and the number appearing. When you have 2 to 24 attacks in the swarm, with each hit doing 2 to 12 damage, the injuries can really add up. Imagine 10 hits doing 7 points each. That's 70 points of damage. You know what I'm saying? And what's worse, these Osquips can sometimes be in cahoots with Germalain, Mites, or Snaiads. Be sure to read up on those critters too. Take note that some of these allies come in great numbers as well. Now, one of the things that I add to this, so get into what I was going to say, what I was talking about earlier. If you read up on these things, they tend to feed on critters, mice, things like that. If you're eating mice, chances of getting a disease is pretty prevalent, especially in a world without penicillin, vaccines, or anything like that. Yeah, your chances of getting disease is pretty big. So whenever these things attack someone, whenever they're hit, I always grant the chance of a 1 or a 2% chance of an infection of some kind, disease, that kind of thing. That's just what I do, and that's completely optional. But to me, it makes more logical sense. Now, on with the video here. Excuse me. Years ago, I was playing in my friend Ronald's game. There were 8 players, and we were exploring the sewers of a town trying to find a secret way into a guild headquarters. The mission was not the sewers. The sewers were a way to get into the guild. Okay? We ran into a large group of mites, 18 of them. And 5 of us, including myself, were captured. The others fled into a side tunnel where a trap door dropped them into an Osquip lair. They were all killed. Later, the 5 of us came to. We were beaten and bloodied and had been stripped of everything but our clothing. We were hopelessly lost because we had no idea where we were in the sewers, and we encountered the Osquips. Only 2 of us made it out of that tunnel system, and the rest, including me, had to make up new characters. These things can really mess up a party simply because of their alliances and their numbers. And these things do significant damage. They're the size of small dogs, but they're rats. Yeah, they can be quite nasty. That's all I'm saying. Now, and keep in mind, these things are designed for lower level players. Well, lower might not be, about mid range characters, fifth, eighth level in that range, I think, because they're 3+1 hit dice, but there can be a lot of them. They can number up to 24 of these things. So Osquips are bad enough just as random monsters. Paired with one of their sometimes allies, they can really, really be devastating. So be sure and read up on them and these other, their quote unquote allies. Read up on all that stuff before you use them in your game. They can really devastate your party. And I like the Osquip because they're not used very often. They're not a lot of players know about them. So chances are you're going to get surprise. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I hope this finds everybody well. And again, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your game. I'm trying to give you the advantage of my experience. I've been playing this game for almost 50 years. I've seen and done a lot in the game, all the games that I play. And yeah, if I can help out younger dungeon masters, less experienced dungeon masters, I'm happy to do so. Most dungeon masters are. So anyway, if you get a chance to check them out, maybe you can use them in your game, surprise your players. And I hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. There is a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. When the police detective, who happens to be a skinwalker squirrel, uncovers a plot by a paranormal perpetrator, he has to enlist the aid of his fellow housemates. If you enjoy a modern, quirky take on historical mythology, check out my new original novel, The House Off Farrago Road.